have a look. Watching Blondie while I eat. Having an alcohol-free gin and tonic with loads of ice. Right, so have we got any numbers on here? Or is Streamlabs doing its... Oh, I've got 4 on the nose. That's always a good news. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody see me? It's not that great while I'm looking so hot and flusteroo, but if you can see me, if you can hear me, please do write in the chat. That would be marvellous. Looks like... Emma of the Braesby is saying hello. Now, is Emma of the Braesby saying hello? So that hopefully means you can hear me and you can see me. How is everybody? Well, that's interesting, because I had 4 on the little numbers of who was there. Now, then it went to 3, then it went to 2. Is anybody there? I do hope we get some numbers for the lovely walk we're going to have today. Well, Emma, I know that you know now to that little red line to make sure that we're live. Oh, and then suddenly it's jumped to 7. Does that mean 5 all jumped in at once? Right, so let's start saying hello. So Leslie may or may not be there. We've got Emma on board. We've got Kathy on board. We've got Michaela. Michaela, I was chortling at your post earlier where you did the who looks like Michaela. I didn't think either of those options were very flattering. Hello, Rosalie. Rosalie? Oh, I've just made up a new name for you. Hello, Rosie. I am actually in a beautiful, beautiful wooded area, and it's actually lovely. It was 30 degrees in the car when I left my house, and even with the wind going through, it only dropped to 29, so it is rather warm. Do feel sorry for your virtual guides in this hot weather. Do throw us ice cubes. Well, Rosalie, I think it would surely be Roselie, and that's kind of the merging. Oh, hello, Anne. How are you? How is everybody on this fine day? And if you think I look a little bit sweaty, it's actually sun cream, because I went out yesterday. And for those of you who are on Leonie on Tour, you will see I put this wonderful photo. I mean, the photo, I'm not saying the photo itself was wonderful. The view was wonderful, although both were wonderful. And I got home and tickety-boo. And then it was only later I looked in front of the mirror and I realised I had indeed caught the sun. So lovely, sort of, you know, the little whoop, and then on the shoulders. So that was really nice. So I thought, well, I do hope that fades, because that just looks silly. Beautiful view. So I'm trying to work out when I'm going to take you to this beautiful view. I will need to take trainers. I took my sandals, and there was a risk I would have killed myself, because there's a little bit of a slope. Obviously, if you're looking down, there will be a slope. And I was wearing my slip-on sandals, and I thought to myself, this really is probably a little bit silly. And if you add a gimbal onto that, I thought I do need trainers and perhaps a padded bottom, so that when I fall I would at least have a soft landing. Hello, Rosemary, how are you? How is everybody? I've got my microphone on today because it's a little bit windy. Hello, Claire, and I thought we'll try that. Now I'm just hoping that you'll be able to hear Claire. So it was a bit of a toss-up between wind, not being able to hear Claire. Car alarm, can anybody hear that? So for those of you that are joining on YouTube, I should have said at the start, but I distracted myself as per usual. We've got 9 minutes until the tour starts proper. So if you're watching back, you might want to move across. Not you personally. I'm trying to think of the name for the bar. But equally, you may wish to listen to me talk to everybody join. It's completely up to you. The bar is in your hands. Now, I will be leaving this one, I should imagine, on live. Scroll. Thank you. Scroll along the bar, but it's the bar. Fast forward. See, I'm loving all the suggestions. Well, Emma, funnily enough, Tales of Dog Rescue, featuring 2 dogs. There are going to be dogs, aren't there, Emma? Hello, Mike. Mr. Higgett. How are you? I haven't had a storm, so it hasn't settled. So yes, I won't get broody because I do love dogs and they are quite cute. One's had a poo already, so that's good, isn't it? Hopefully that means there won't be any on tour. Hello, Shin. That was Elmo, who's gifted Claire that. But who knows? Becky might, Becky, aka the Mad Professor, may decide to interrupt. Well, I did actually think the reason why that sprang to mind, Leslie, is because I'm walking around and I'm suddenly realising that I could be treading in anything and everything. And it looks like... That's interesting. Oh, let's flip, shall we? That's so I can actually have a better look as well. Oh, that's interesting. That's just... It's not feathers, it's furs. What is that, people? What is it? It looks like something's had a fight. And the gimbal's moving of its own. No, it does look like... Well, it looks like, yes, but there's a lot of it, isn't there? What is this? What is this? Well, yes, could be mouldy. No, I already had to deal with a little bit of... Well, there you are. I feel a little bit like, ooh, this could be a postcard of the week. Oh, look. And equally, I've managed to, heavens above, bring me one of my lovely favourite little green balls, which, oh, Barbara's from a beach. Redondo Beach. It's Molting Dog. Oh, how lovely. So, Barbara's... Are you actually... Is that a place you're actually on the beach there in your bikini, Barbara? With your phone? Bobby's Buttons. I've no idea what that is, Mike. Not quite as tasty as Cadbury's Buttons. Not sure if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. Maybe Mr. Cadbury should give me a sponsor. Fuzzy balls! I'm glad there's nobody around while I'm just aimlessly shouting out ridiculous words and inspecting fuzzy bits. Oh, that's exciting. Nearly saw the stars of the show down there, waiting for us at the end. So we've been here before. This is Oak Apple Cemetery. Well, at least you've been here before if you've been with me before. If you haven't been with me before, you probably haven't actually been before. Now, that was a tongue twister. And there's Yin and Yang tree by the looks of it. Barbara says she's a few miles from the beach and definitely, absolutely in a bikini. That's what I read anyway. And we've got the War Memorial over here. And we've got our gravestones as well, which I've had a look. And I need to come out and do a bit of titivation. And we've got 4 minutes. 4 minutes till we go live. Shall we have a wander and look at this as the War Memorial and hope that I don't tread in anything revolting. I am, of course, wearing ridiculous sandals again, so let's hope there's no snakes in there to chomp on me. And we've got, as I said, 4 minutes to go. I don't actually know why I should be showing you this. This is a it's a park, but it's originally a cemetery. So there's about 2,000, I think, not 2,000 graves, but apparently 2,000 bodies. 4 minutes before to start, yes, of course, the Natalie, the French way. 4 minutes before, except now it's only 3 minutes before to start, young Natalie. Has everybody got dogs at home? Who hasn't got a dog? Because we're going to obviously be looking at dogs that have been rescued and talking about dogs that have had hard lives and come to be rescued, which is new, obviously. You're used to me and my my cat tours, but I thought I'd you know, mix it up a bit. Seeing the conversation about the snakes, slightly distracting. I didn't actually think there were going to be any snakes. Oh, sorry to hear that, Rosie. And my beautiful Jenny Edwards is on, and we all need to send a lot of love to Jenny Edwards because she lost her beautiful, beautiful dog, Woody. And she lost him 10 days ago to cancer. And as you all know, I lost, well, most of you will know, I lost my Tinker last year to cancer. And it's incredibly raw for her at the moment. So I told her to come along and have a look and see what lovely woofers we have. We've got 2 minutes, 2 minutes. It is incredibly sad, isn't it? Does break the old heart. I am pleased to say that the time is just right. Got a bit of wind, hopefully that's not mucking about with the audio too much. And the sun's not quite as awful as it was. And we've got 1 minute to go. So I'm just going to start making my way over to Claire. You can't have the love without the loss when it comes to our little woofers and meowsers. So we've got less than a minute now. It's very exciting. They're getting very excited. I can tell they know they're going to be famous. They're going to be known around the world. One, I will tell you, was actually a mad professor in her previous life. So I'm not saying anything, but I think you'll know. And that's it. We're bang on 6 o'clock. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Today is a charity tour. So I have put my links in the chat, which to my Buy Me a Coffee and my PayPal. Thank you very much for those who are able to send me a little something. I will then be sending it across to Kent Greyhound Rescue. And I will be gift aiding on top. So what that means in the UK, they will get 25% more of my donation, which is rather lovely. And without further ado, let's see the stars of the show. Let's introduce ourselves first to Becky. Now, Becky, could you look at the camera and tell us all about yourself? Oh, no, that doesn't yet. Oh, fabulous. Yes, you see, I knew it. I mean, oh, wonderful. Have I not put my payment? My payment links should be in the chat. Now, what this may mean is this the actual right link? It should be a pinned message at the top. Can everybody let me know if there is a pinned message? Unfortunately, sometimes we have nothing is pinned. Okay, that's really strange because when I first joined this tour, there was indeed a pinned message. Can everybody just confirm that this is actually the tour link that I actually posted on the event, or have we got the sometimes Streamlabs creates a second link? It's at the top of the chat, right? It's not pinned, so it's at the top of the chat. Okay, right. For some reason, unfortunately, that would mean that YouTube's just having a funny. So basically, if you come into my Lonely on Tour group, I will do a post and ask everybody. So basically, I've got a PayPal and I've got Buy Me a Coffee, but I won't delay the tour any further. Those of you do let me know on my group and I'll put something on there. Okay, so now we've had a little bit of a nose and now we're going to say hello to Claire.
Hello.
Because there's actually somebody with these animals. They're not just here on their own, just standing around. So this is Claire, and Claire and I are going to have a wander round with the doggies, and we're going to have a little chat and find out how she got involved in Kent Greyhound Rescue. And so if I have you to my left, I think, please, and then obviously we want the doggies in front. And we'll just watch them as we walk round. So now, can everybody hear?
Hiya.
So, waiting for the thumbs up so you can say that you can hear Claire. Don't know if there's a bit of a delay on the chat.
Want me to speak again? This is Claire.
Can everybody hear me, please? I cut out for a second. Ah, right. Okay, that's marvellous. Just what we like to hear. I did think, yep, okay, that's brilliant. I did think you were very quiet for a moment. I had a bit of a panic that we were going to have the repeat of the Rye where I lost you all in the chat. Right, so. Claire. Oh, have we stopped? Hello? Claire, tell us all about why have you got... What? Actually, no, let's even start at the beginning. Who is this lovely little lady in front of us?
This is Becky. She's a 12-year-old lurcher. She's a Bedlington Terrier crossed with a Greyhound.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And actually, thank you, Leslie. I was going to say, actually, when you've tipped, if you could write to KGR for me, and then I'll know, obviously, it's going to the rescue. So a 12-year-old, she's a Greyhound crossed with a Bedlington Terrier. And I'm assuming then this is why she's got these little mad little... Hello.
She's got a beard and everything.
She's got a beard. Well, to be honest, women of a certain age know that happens. So so I'm thinking she must be, what, 84 in human years then, if she's 12?
That's correct.
And how long have you had Becky?
I got Becky when she was 1, so I've had her for 11 years.
Oh, wow. So and what was her history?
So she lived with an elderly couple who couldn't cope with her. Greyhounds are well known for being very lazy, but lots of people want a smaller version, hence they buy a lurcher. And they didn't realise that lurchers are much, much busier and more active, and she was a little bit of a pickle. And
that's obviously, I'm guessing, because of the mix. So you've already told me this, but what is a lurcher?
A lurcher is anything crossed with a greyhound.
So I could cross a, any kind of dog with a greyhound and it will always be a lurcher?
Yes.
And what about when I cross a lurcher with another dog? Then is it a lurcher cross, or do you start getting complicated?
Yeah, so you go to more of a mixed breed. So Elmo is more of a mixed breed. He's got lots of things in him, whereas Becky is actually just a greyhound.
Becky's 50% greyhound and 50% Bedlington, and so she came at 1, and obviously her owners didn't know what to do, and those paws are quite something, aren't they?
They are. She's got very long nails.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm loving the little white dib bits, yeah. But they're actually like demon claws. Are they sharp? Does she jump up?
They aren't too sharp. Unfortunately, she's had some problems with her claws, so I have to grind them down rather than have them cut. So that's why they're so long. So we just grind them every now and again, but they're not sharp because I grind them.
Okay,
Cut them.
and do you grind them into maybe a meal? You know, because that sounds quite nice. That expression of grinding. I mean, I only knew about kind of pepper grinder, but now you've got a claw grinder. I mean, that's wonderful. Note to self: never go round to Claire's for dinner. So how do you grind a claw?
Literally, it's just a tool that it's a bit like a nail file, but it's just
It's a bit sharp.
rather than cutting them, because unfortunately has got what's called quicks in her nails. We've all got quicks in our nails, but
Yes.
hers are very, very long. So every time the vet has tried to cut her nails, they cut into her quicks, which causes her a lot of pain. So now we just file her nails back with a grinder instead.
And does she enjoy this?
She's quite happy doing it. She lays like she's in the spa.
I was going to say, and she says no to painting them though. Thank you. I'm not that
Yeah.
kind of girl.
So we do brushing, teeth cleaning, and nails.
And you clean her teeth as well. And
Yes.
and has she lost any of her gnashers through old
Not
age?
yet. No.
Well, that's not bad.
She goes to the dentist once every 6 months, and they give her a proper good looking at her teeth as well.
And what I would say is that this is actually quite soft. So when you look, you wouldn't think. I mean, as much as I would love to be licked, then hello, baby. Hello, baby. Can you smell the furry animals, perchance? So what I was going to say, this is actually soft. I was thinking it'd be quite wiry, but it's actually quite soft. As our who doesn't love a dog here? So, yeah, come on then. Right, so then let's move on to Mr. Elmo, because Elmo has got a most adorable face. Now he's a mix. Emma's saying the black dog, well, that's Elmo, looks like he might have Saluki.
Yes, he has got Saluki.
He's got Emma's. I tell you what, you might not do as well on my quizzes, but you've done well on that. He has got a bit of Saluki in him, and she said, and maybe Labrador.
So I had his DNA sent off because he was found as a stray.
Yeah.
And he has Saluki, Greyhound. He also has Bedlington Terrier in him, and he has a Spanish dog that I can't remember the name of, and I did try and look it up. I couldn't find the results. So he's a bit of a mix of everything. Something the English used to call a Heinz 57.
Yes, definitely a Heinz 57. He's a baked bean, are you, darling? And obviously he's a lurcher because he's got greyhounds. So do they all have these remarkable long noses?
Yes, that's kind of the greyhound kind of nose. It does vary depending on, I suppose it's a bit like humans. If you get a child that might look a bit more like its mum or its dad, it varies from dog to dog. He's got quite a lot of Saluki in him, hence the ears, and he's got a very, very fluffy tail as well.
And why have they got the long nose? So what is that for, scenting out prey?
Yes, so they're very much chase dogs. And like to chase rabbits and squirrels, and foxes are Elmo's favourite. He can smell a fox a mile off, so he. And
when he chases, are they actually sort of bred to kill? Well, or do they retrieve, or?
They can kill because they will shake them to death. Greyhounds are used a lot for racing. And that's what they would do if they caught the rabbit in the racing. Not that it's not a real rabbit, of course, in racing, but they would shake it.
They would shake it, so it's kind of death by headache.
Yes.
Okay.
And historically, do you want to know the history of how lurchers became?
Absolutely.
So greyhounds originally were for the gentry only.
Oh.
Because they were racing dogs and they were fast, in order for the lower, more common classes to have the gentrified greyhounds, they started to cross them with other breeds. So then they became lurchers, and they were allowed to have them because they weren't allowed to have greyhounds.
They weren't. So you wouldn't have been allowed to have a greyhound because you're not posh enough.
No, definitely
not. And in actual fact, you don't have a greyhound, so you're all right anyway.
I'm a commoner.
And so greyhounds were for the gentry, and they were bred then for.
I think they were very lazy dogs. I think they were just a status symbol to the gentry.
And are they known? So what are they? Are they quite affectionate? Obviously, my knowledge of greyhounds is that they run faster than I do, but that's not difficult.
So they are sprinters. So they do like to run, but once they've done a little run, they like to sleep, and they particularly like a sofa.
They like a sofa. Is there a kind of a colour they prefer on the sofa?
No,
or any colour will do?
Any colour will do, and they do like to stretch out. They particularly like to lay on their backs with their feet in the air, which is called roaching.
Roaching.
And they lay and they can take the full length of the sofa up if you give them the chance.
Oh my goodness. And Jenny's asked whether or not they need a lot of exercise.
So greyhounds don't. They're sort of 20 minutes a couple of times a day. Lurchers, because they've got other breeds in them, tend to need a little bit more exercise. But these two are very lazy. Becky because she's old, and Elmo just because he's lazy.
Is he a lazy, just
Yes.
a lazy bum, really?
Yeah.
And as you can see, he's now demonstrating. He's demonstrating. Well, I mean, I'll be honest. This I wasn't expecting. Elmo, you're bringing in the tips, baby. You are. You know, do you want to do any more tricks, or is he just demonstrating just how absolutely lazy he is?
Yes.
Does he like a tummy tickle?
He does. Becky won't lay down here because she likes to have some comfort to lay on. She will see this as not good enough for her to lay on.
So Becky has standards, and it would appear that Elmo has, well, none really.
I think possibly because he was found as a stray, he's quite happy with any situation.
And tell me, so what happened with Elmo? How did you hear about him?
So Elmo was found by some workmen. He walked up to them on a site and asked if he could have some of their lunch, and he was then handed in to the dog warden.
Do you know what they were eating? Does that matter? You know, was he picky?
I do know he's quite partial to chicken burger. He has been known to steal.
He likes a chicken burger, does he? And so he walked up to some workmen, and he'd gone, "Hello, can I have your lunch?"
Yes.
And he's then got picked up by the dog warden. Now, what happens next? So the dog warden, for those of you not in the UK, if you find a stray dog, you have a legal responsibility to contact the dog warden. And then, obviously, the dog warden puts them into kennels. And if you are a bona fide owner, you then have to pay to get your dog back if they've spent a night in kennels. Now, legally, all dogs must be microchipped. So with any luck, they'd pick them up, do a chip check and be able to reunite. But there are those that have never chipped their animals, or indeed never want to for whatever reason, or some, sadly, that will have been stolen and will have had the chip removed. So then tell me, how did Kent Greyhound Rescue get involved?
So the dog warden deals with lots of different charities and rescues, and when they find a greyhound or a lurcher, they tend to contact the Kent Greyhound Rescue because they know their speciality is rehoming these kinds of dogs. So they contacted them and said, "Will you take him in?" And he was taken into the kennels that Kent Greyhound Rescue use. He was very thin. He had bald patches on him. His ears were about half the length. He didn't have any of the long fur on his legs. He was in a very poor condition. And so he was taken into kennels.
And then what happens? So do they have an assessment period to make sure, obviously, that this dog isn't going to go and savage anyone?
Yeah, so they use either, with the dogs they've got, they either keep some in kennels or they try to use foster carers, and that's where I came in with Elmo. They knew that I was looking for a second dog to keep Becky company. And they asked me if I would be his foster carer because we have to give 28 days for the owners to claim a stray dog. And so they asked me if I would take him into foster care and look after him, and then they said I would have a option to adopt him if nobody came forward.
A bit like a lease car. You pay for it for your month, and then, you know, at the end of the lease period, you get a chance to buy it or take it back. And of course, no owner came forward.
No.
And what had he done during this whole month of being with you? Because obviously, I imagine it's quite challenging. Because how old is he now?
He's around about 7.
He's about 7. And how old? He was a year when he was picked up.
No, that was Becky that I had from a year.
Oh.
He was about 4 when I got him.
So you've had him 3 years.
Yeah.
And obviously at 4, he's been roaming as a stray. Was he showing behavioural issues or?
So he wasn't too bad. He didn't know what the difference between a house and a garden, so that was a bit of a challenge to stop him from going to the toilet indoors. He was also very scared of lots of things, so he would often hide in the corner behind the sofa because it was a safe place for him. He still doesn't like the car, so he must have been shut in somewhere at some point. And obviously he had all these sores on him, which were sore to him, and he was concerned about those, so we started treating those. While Kent Greyhound Rescue have dogs in the kennels or foster, what they do is they vaccinate them. to make sure they haven't got anything wrong with them. They'll deflea them, they'll worm them. He had worms as well, which wasn't very nice.
Oh, I say.
And they also neuter them so that they can't have any
No
more
babies.
Yes.
No babies for Mr. Elmo. And do you know how many foster homes Kent Greyhound Rescue have got?
It varies around the year. I foster during the school holidays when my daughter's home from university, so I will be having a foster again soon. So it does vary, but I think they're generally got about 6 or 8 permanent people that have fosters. Some of them have more than one dog. One lady has lots of dogs all the time because she's got a dog room that's set up in her house. But as I say, I tend to do the holidays, Easter holidays, summer holidays and Christmas.
And how hard is it? Let's go for a wander, Elmo, shall we? Yeah.
Off you get, mate. Good boy.
How hard is it to kind of let them go back?
Well, with Elmo, he was a little bit different because I knew that I was going to adopt him if the people didn't come forward for him. But with other fosters, I think if you didn't have any dogs, it would be really hard to send them back because you do get attached to them. But because I've got 2 dogs already, 3, it's very busy in the house when I've got 3 dogs. So actually when there's a new home, their forever home is found for them. It's actually really joyous to hand them on and know that you've done that job for them.
Do the dogs bond? So do you have an issue where there's jealousy when a new dog comes in, or they're just like playmate, or...
Becky doesn't care.
Yep.
As long as she's got her beanbag to lay on and they don't mess with her, she doesn't care. If they go near her beanbag when she's on it, she will tell them to go away in doggy language. Elmo, he can be a little bit jealous because because he had such a hard life.
Yeah.
He's very bonded to me. He's always where I am. We've just got to stop for a wee break, sorry.
Just having a pee, that's neither me nor Claire, just to clarify.
So he sometimes gets a little bit jealous of the other dogs, but we make sure that they all have lots of treats and they're all brushed at the same time together and they all eat together. And we're teaching the new dogs. I had one recently, Freya. She was a greyhound.
Yeah.
So she didn't even know what a TV was. It terrified her the first time I turned it on.
Could she not use the remote?
No. But it absolutely terrified her the first time I put it on. And then we have to turn the volume down, get her used to it, get her used to things in a house, because it makes them much easier to rehome if we've been able to foster them and teach them about home life, teach them about going to the toilet in the garden, all of those things. People are put off when the dogs are coming out of kennels because they know they've got to do that, whereas if they're coming out of a foster home, half the battle has been done already.
Bit more socialised,
yes.
and yes, because a lot of people unfortunately don't have the time, the commitment, or indeed the skills necessarily to rehabilitate a dog.
And the reason I only do it when my daughter's home from university is some days I have to go to the office, and so when I'm in the office she takes over and does the work for me. She's very good with the dogs.
Oh, well, that's good, isn't it? Yeah. And so have you ever got to the situation where you've been like, actually, I don't really want to give this dog up, or has that not really happened?
We had one called Roger who my daughter really didn't want to go. She very much bonded with him, but he has his own Instagram account now, so she keeps up with his progress in life. Right,
he's a famous dog.
Yeah. Freya, I found Freya, I attached to her very well, and we had a Tilly. Tilly wasn't with us for very long, so we didn't bond with her as much. But yeah, you do bond. But as I say, you do try to remember what you're doing is you're doing a really good job. And if you keep all the dogs, then you get to the stage where you can't take any fosters in. So you need to move them on so that you've got capacity to take the next one.
Yeah, I think that's... just wondering if I should be on the other side of you and then we're not getting the hand.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's quite all right. I'm more expressive than you are, so I was just wondering whether or not we might do a little switcheroo. Either that or you might smack me in the face. And although the Voyagers would like that, I wouldn't be so keen. So it now looks like I'm about to ride the horses, except the dogs. So let's go forward and see how this one works.
Come on.
That involves them actually moving, otherwise I'll trip over dog.
Come on.
Softer to land on, I'm sure.
Yes.
And can everybody still hear Claire now I've shifted across? This reminds me of a tour I went on with Leslie Hammond. Oops! And she was on the horse, and I feel that's the view that I was getting while Leslie was doing her tour. So, Kent Greyhound Rescue, have they got a base then? So have they got kennels that you can go and visit?
Yeah, so there's kennels in a place called Headcorn in Kent, but they don't tend to take people to visit the dogs there. They tend to bring the dogs out of kennels and meet you
In a field or
a local park. And then obviously the foster homes. They also have an office space in Hythe because they have a shop too, and they sell harnesses and leads and toys and all sorts of things from that shop, and it's all to make money for Kent Greyhound Rescue.
That's wonderful. So they're
Sorry, the dogs just want to stop to say hello to my daughter.
we're just moving swiftly on while the dog again. I was getting a fabulous shadow shot from Elmo.
Sorry.
No, that's look at that. It looks like it's a hand of the Baskerville actually for a moment there. Have they been in the heat? Because obviously it's been rather warm, as I keep telling everybody.
So Becky's not too bad in the heat, but Elmo, being black, does struggle a bit more.
Absorbs the heat a bit.
He also is quite mad on his walks when he's off the lead, and does quite a bit of sort of dashing around to begin with. So I think he wears himself out a bit quicker, and the heat doesn't help with that.
Oh, bless. So he's obviously younger, though. But mind you, you say that he's actually quite lazy. So you'd think that he'd be less likely to hare around. But does he get the zoomies?
Yes.
And then he collapses and goes, "No, I'm done now."
Yes, exactly. He will zoom round and round, and they always run in circles or figures of 8 when they run. And sometimes she runs after him. And in fact, if she perceives he's upsetting another dog in the park, she tells him off.
Oh,
Yeah.
Manners.
She's definitely in charge. It's like an old married
Is
couple.
she? Well, is it marriage or is it mother?
I think it feels like an old married couple where
Oh,
she's telling him
bless.
to behave himself.
And how long I suppose because they're a mix. Can you tell how old a lurcher would last till? Because obviously, is it then dependent on kind of the Bedlington Terrier
Found a
part?
smell.
Just stopping for another wee, guys.
There's a nice smell there. So lurchers they live a bit longer. I've had a look recently because Becky's slowed down a lot, but anything up to about 15 really is
Right.
not unusual. Whereas a greyhound tends to, because it's such a big dog, would tend to be more like 9 or 10.
So greyhounds are a lot bigger then, except
Yes.
for you can get an Italian greyhound, can't you?
Yes.
Which are, oh my goodness gracious me, they are cute. And they're very smooth, but I'm guessing you don't get many of those wanting to be rehomed, aren't they? Quite expensive.
I think so. I've not seen any come through
Yeah,
KGR.
no.
Most of the greyhounds that come into KGR are brought over from the Irish racing industry.
Right.
Unfortunately, the Irish racing industry, once the dogs are finished with, unless they can find a home pretty quickly, they're pretty much put on death row.
And that's something I wanted to talk to you about really in more detail. So I wanted to talk to you about, Becky, could you move off the path? Yes, thank you, Becky.
She's gonna have a wee now as well.
Becky. Oh, they're all at it. Could have been worse, could have been on my foot. So, racing, dog racing. We have greyhound racing in the UK, so I don't know if it's across the world, where I've never been because I won't support it. But where you get greyhounds run around the track chasing a fake rabbit. Obviously from that, when a greyhound is no longer good at what it does, or is old, or whatever, what then happens are there rules and regulations in the UK now to stop? Because you talked about the Irish racing industry. What's the difference between that and the UK?
I think there are more rules and regulations in the UK about the treatment of the dogs. Unfortunately, I don't know an awful lot about the UK industry, but the Irish racing industry is quite less regulated. They're also, often dogs come over and find that they've had broken bones that haven't been set properly, and they end up having to have operations before they can be rehomed and things like that. So that's why they bring over from Ireland, because the regulations there are much worse than in the UK. I still think they would like greyhound racing to be stopped completely. In fact, I know but it is better in the UK than in Ireland.
And I suppose that these greyhounds that are racing, they've not been kept as pets, so this is why the fostering is so important,
Yes.
because you're socialising an animal that maybe has lived its whole life in kennels, and basically goes to the toilet wherever it needs to. I mean, it's just terribly sad to think that a dog could be in that situation, and I'm assuming greyhound racing has to be a greyhound, so these would never have raced.
No, these haven't raced. Greyhounds, when you get them in, you can see and you can find out their race details because they get tattooed in their ears.
Right.
So it gives them the racing name and things like that. But no, these haven't raced.
Do lurchers ever race?
No, not in proper racing. I have the people. Some people do take lurchers to do activity
Right.
things, but that's more personal choice.
Agility and,
Yes.
and stuff like that, but not.
Yeah.
So, how many dogs does the... oh, interesting. Tracy says it's been banned in the US, but not in 4 states. That's actually quite encouraging that it has been banned
Yeah.
in the US. Because I'm assuming a lot of greyhounds never get to a rescue. They'll just be, put down?
Yes.
And do they get put down? Do they get shot? Do you know what?
I think they get put down.
They get put down, so they have to... and that's really sad. I'm guessing some, unfortunately, are unrehomable. Is that right? Because...
There's very few fails on the greyhounds. There's been more. There's been a couple of fails I know of on the lurchers. But the greyhounds are very easy dogs, and although they've been in kennels, like I said about Freya, and she didn't even know what a telly was, they very quickly learn the home life and where the sofa
Does
is.
she now know how to, literally use everything now? She's like, she can put the washing machine on. You've taught her just to be like, I mean, it's really interesting because cats are obviously the same, but to a completely different extent, because I think they're much more kind of easier. If you've got the stray cats, I think they settle. Obviously with dogs, a lot of it's around fear.
Yes.
And the noises, and obviously the way that they're built. And obviously, Elmo.
Elmo.
Hello, baby. I mean, those ears.
Pigtails.
Oh, pigtails, yeah. Those ears are just literally something else, aren't they? Are you giving Elmo a kiss? There are moves apparently happening to ban greyhound racing in Wales.
Yes, there is. Well, there's a lot of petitions for banning greyhound racing. It's just getting them actually approved and through.
And what will actually happen? The risk always is if you actually stop a sport, what then happens to the animals? Could there then just be a massive influx of unwanted greyhounds?
Possibly, yeah. But then they're going forwards.
Then it stops.
Yes.
Although whether or not it goes off grid.
Yes. Oh, that's always going to be.
Oh, hello. Can you wave? Thank you. No, you need to wave at your shadow.
Oh.
Say hello. There is a greyhound course near us, isn't there, in Essex, is it?
There's one in Crayford. There's also one in Wimbledon.
Sorry, I'm now just fascinated with the...
And there was one in Sittingbourne, which I think is still open.
Yes, I mean, I know I used to be at work and people would say, let's do a racing night, and I would go, no, I'm not going. Thank you very much. But I will do a tour and show you a couple of half greyhounds. Although Elmo, I would suggest, would be not the greatest racer, because he would be like halfway around and think, I'll have a nap now.
Yeah, he's also not very bright, Elmo. He's not got the most
Shocking.
intelligence. Becky's very, very intelligent. She's very cunning. She's always been a bit of a escape artist when she was young. She could jump a 6-foot fence.
She could jump a 6-foot fence, so...
Yes, and she did.
That's quite terrifying, actually. So, I mean, that's considering she's not actually that tall to be able to do. That's because of her. That's of kind of killer mittens, though, isn't it?
She's also, there's nothing of her. If you pick her up, there's no weight in her, and there never has been. She eats well. She could just literally. When I first got her, I went out the side gate, closed it behind me, and she popped over the top.
And did you say, well, hello, that's a new game that we could do without?
So yeah, so it was a bit of a worry when we first had her. But once she learnt to love us and realised that we were good people, she stopped doing that.
And then she didn't want to?
No. And she also used to go to a kennels with the people that previously owned her, and we utilised those kennels, and they said they had to put her in a covered kennel because otherwise she went to visit all the other dogs.
Oh.
She just jumped over the top to the next one, then the next one.
Oh my goodness. She literally, do you think she wanted boyfriends? She wanted, a bit of male attention, and now of course she's happy as Larry because she's got Elmo.
Yes.
Who she can boss around.
Yes. Yeah, so she was...
And has Elmo ever tried to escape or jump a 6-foot fence, or did he go, nah?
No, he did run away from me once when I first had him because some dogs spooked him. But he reverted to form, and it was bin day, and he was found rummaging around in some bin bags.
He was found, at your house?
Yeah, just up the road from me.
Just up that actually must have been terrifying, though.
It was very terrifying why he was missing.
How long had you had him when he went missing?
That would have been a few months.
Oh, a few months. And
yeah,
so what then when you found...
a bit longer, actually. Might have been about 5 or 6 months, actually.
And when you found him, what did he do? Did he look guilty at least? Or?
No, because I don't think he remembered what he'd done. Because, as I say, he's not very bright.
Right.
I think he just thought, I found some food here, this seems nice.
Right, so did he actually find any decent food, or was it just, nappies?
I don't know. I was so pleased to find him, I didn't really feel the need to go through the bin bags.
Didn't investigate to find out what he'd been chomping
Whereas
on.
Becky always, when she was younger, and she was one of, if she ever decided to run off, she always went home. I always went to the front door and stood barking.
What, when she'd run off and then come right round to the front door?
She would always go home to the front door.
That's very sweet, but also slightly annoying.
Yes. So
because then she knew what she was doing.
She always knew what she was doing.
She knew she'd done something naughty, and then she rang the doorbell and went, hello, look at me.
You always know when she's been naughty. She has the look on her face that says, it was me.
And what kind of health issues do greyhounds have?
Generally, with these two, we've not had too many. As I say, Becky's getting older, so she has some tablets called U-Move every day.
Somebody mentioned in the chat, I see those advertised.
Yeah, so she's been on those for about a year, which really helped her.
Other tablets are available.
Yes, but generally they're pretty good. The biggest problem with them is if they break legs, because they're so thin. So there's quite often problems with them breaking their legs where they run. When they do run, they run so fast. He's laid down again.
You've got a tripod, I think. Kent Greyhound has got a tripod. So a three-legged dog up for rehoming.
Yes. Now I'm trying to remember his name. It's gone.
Oh, I say
Trevor.
there was a
Trevor,
oh right,
Trevor,
okay. They all seem to have human names, that your dogs.
Yes. So a lot of them is part of their racing name that they just give them, that was given to them when they were racing.
Right.
But yeah, Trevor unfortunately had something wrong with him, and when he went to the vets, they found an old injury. And after an awful lot of consultation, the best thing for him was to amputate one of his legs. But he was running on 3 legs within days of having the amputation.
And is he a greyhound?
He's a greyhound.
So he was a racer?
Yes, and he had an injury.
Was he an Irish racer?
Yes, so he'd had an injury that hadn't healed properly.
Or perhaps never been treated?
Yes.
Which is so terribly... And would he had to have raced on his injury? Or do you think that's why he was given up?
Probably that was why he was given up.
Is that not the cutest nose? I mean, I'll be honest. Elmo may not have anything between his ears, but he's got the lokes. He's got the lokes.
He has. Everyone loves Elmo when we're out on our walks. And because, again, I think because he's been a stray, he's very food orientated. And most of the people on the walks, he tries to go in their pockets to see if they've got any food in their pockets.
Well, I don't have any food, unfortunately.
No, so we have...
I'm surprised. I thought they'd be more interested in the scent of the cat. Oh, he's actually moving. Wow, this is...
We're off.
We're off. Come on then, Elmo. You lead the way. You show us where we're off to. He's getting all those seeds stuck on his head. Has he ever got them caught in his eye?
Yes. Well, so Becky, I don't know if you've noticed when you looked at her, she's got quite a lot of eyebrows, and we were told quite early on never to cut those, to leave them hanging over her eyes,
right,
because they stop things like seeds going in. He hasn't got that.
Oh!
All right, Elmo.
Oh, sorry.
he
I was
does-
trying to spin round quickly because he started dancing about on the grass.
But he does get them in his eyes, and we have to just check the corner of his eyes. He did get a seed lodged underneath him last year, which unfortunately caused a bit of an abscess. So yeah, but that's because
Caught underneath where?
under his belly. It was under here.
Oh, and it wormed its way in.
It did worm its way in.
Oh my goodness,
So
that's...
we do have to, when we come back from walks at this time of the year, go over him. Not her, she sticks to the paths. She doesn't like going in the long grass, it's too much for her. She's a princess.
And so your eyebrows,
But yeah,
they are quite astonishing then, aren't they,
yeah.
really?
But the vet did say to us, don't cut them. They do a job. They stop things from going in her eyes when she's running, because they're running dogs, it helps them. So we leave them. So she never has a trim, she just stays like this.
Bless her. Well, no, and to be fair, actually, it isn't... It's very thin. The fur isn't really thick.
She's quite short just underneath.
Yeah, so it's not as if you'd think she'd be really hot or anything. And this pattern that she's got, is that kind of like a brindley?
Yeah, it's brindle, yes.
Is it actually really ginger? Have
It
we
is
got
quite
a bit?
ginger
I think
underneath.
we've got a love of ginger things, so I'm thinking she's a bit ginger.
Yes.
Are you a bit ginger? Are
And
you
then
a ginger?
And then she's got like a rat tail, which is a bit odd. Whereas he's got, let's lift his tail up for you.
I was going to say, yeah, she does have...
He's got a lovely big tail.
Oh, that is pretty. That's
wags a
very
lot,
pretty.
isn't it, eh? He's a good boy.
He's like, I am, mummy, actually. I think you'll find I'm a lovely, lovely, lovely boy.
But he's just got furrier and furrier the more we've had him. So he didn't have any of this on his legs when we got him. As they get happier,
Happier.
they seem to grow
As
fur.
they get happier, they get hairier.
They do seem to, these two. They've both...
Wow.
When Becky arrived, she was only patchy with long hair as well, where she hadn't been... They had,
That is something, isn't it?
yeah.
Hey? Becky Moore?
And
Becky Moore?
unfortunately, the people that gave Becky up, that's not unusual. Lots of people are giving up lurchers at the moment. There's a big push on lurchers for Kent Greyhound Rescue this weekend, in fact, because they've got 13 lurchers in at the moment. They're trying to
Unlucky for
rehome.
some.
Yeah. So, yeah, mate. Roll over. Got you all hooked up now, haven't I?
Wow. You're a cutie booty. And their paws are quite solid as well, aren't they?
Yep.
Oh,
He's got-
look,
and
can
he's
you
got
show
little-
me the underneath of that paw, please? Hold on. Sorry, Gimbal's having a look at that. That's just like, what happened here? Why is that pale? I love it.
Yeah, they all like it, I believe. Yeah, that one's pale, yeah. They all like it. And he's got little tufty bits on
And
the top.
do you have to grind his...
I do, because I do hers, I might as well do his as well.
Yeah.
But he's a lot shorter.
I was going to say, they don't seem quite, I mean, like murder mittens.
But he's like this. He hands his foot over. He loves it.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
He loves... Does he like a bit of a massage as well?
Yeah, he loves any attention. Loves a cuddle on the sofa. He knows that he's not allowed on the sofa most of the time. But when I pour a glass of wine on a Friday night, he knows
Yeah.
I put a blanket on the sofa and up he jumps.
And when you go out, is he got access to the lounge with the
No.
sofa? No.
No,
I was going
I-
to say, because surely he'd be on there then.
Yeah, we've got bean bags for them. Just because I want them to understand that some people will let their dogs on the sofas all the time. For me, I'd like it to be more of a special occasion thing that they come on.
It's
get
a
on.
Friday night glass of wine, get
Yes.
on the sofa, and
Yeah, because I walk them twice a day. They're often quite wet and soggy. I don't really want them jumping on and off the sofa when they're...
oh, right. And how long do you walk them?
About 20 minutes to half an hour twice a day. Once before work, once after. Sometimes longer. Becky. Hello. He's a good girl.
Guys, have you got any questions? We've got 5 minutes left. Only got 5 minutes left. What are your questions for Claire while we've got her and her two little furry friends?
I do have a picture of when Elmo was found, if you'd like me
Oh,
to.
yes.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well on my phone, but that was Elmo in kennels just as he was found.
Just double checking there's nothing there that...
No. Oh, sorry. Let's turn that round backwards.
Marvellous. Beautiful.
But very different to how he is now.
Yeah, very much so. The ears definitely not the...
If you look, there's no feathers on his legs there. You can see how he's grown all that in over the last couple of years. He was very scared looking.
And now he's got the life of Riley.
He has.
Hey? And so how fast can they go?
Oh, they're fast, really fast. I don't know speed-wise, but they when they see a fox or a rabbit,
they're off.
They are off.
And if you had them, would they literally just, and they saw a fox, would they then pull off the lead?
They wouldn't. If I had them on the lead, they wouldn't pull off the lead. Because if they see cats as well, these two are very much chase orientated. But if they're off lead, they will chase. They've never caught anything. Because most cats, or birds, they like to chase birds as well.
Yeah.
They forget birds can actually fly off the ground. They've never worked that out. They forget it and go have another go.
That birds can actually fly. Well, I mean, I'll be honest, you have explained that Elmo's a sandwich short of a picnic, so...
He often barks at them on the next door's roof.
Does he?
He thinks that, and he goes in the garden.
Are they quite woofy?
Not particularly. They do bark when the postman comes.
I was going to say, would they be quite good as a guard dog?
I think they might put them off with their bark. Becky's bark's very manly.
Oh, a manly bark.
So I think probably they would sound...
What's a manly bark?
Just very deep.
Yes. and then more of a feminine bark would be woof.
Yeah, so he's more feminine.
Right. I'm glad we've clarified the different barks.
But yeah, I think they certainly, when someone comes to the front door, I know about it. Which is awkward if I'm on a conference call.
Yes. And then woofy woof woof.
Yeah.
And you can see she looks, yes, just definitely. There's no, do you get fat lurchers, or do they generally tend to wear off?
Most of them are thin like these two because the greyhound in them keeps the kind of shape. But I'm sure Elmo can get quite tubby for a lurcher. He does like his food. Oh, he's seen something.
Yeah, it's a man on a bike.
I think it'd be quite hard to get them fat. Becky, I can't get any weight on her at all. She's just always been like this.
She's on the go all the time.
I mean, her ears are up now. She's aware of that bike.
I'll be honest, I don't think he'd be that tasty, that man on a bike, Becky. Look at them, standing to attention. So, well, Tracy's saying thank you for rescuing and fostering. Rescues are the best, and of course you all know how much I love a rescue. Normally we talk about the kitty kind, so it's nice to have a bit of a break. Emma says she has to hope that her dog's barks would scare off a burglar because they would actually welcome them in. Probably unlock the door, say take a seat, what would you like to take home?
Becky's interesting in the car because when she's behind glass, she thinks she's invincible.
Ah.
As soon as you get her out of the car, she's putty in their hands.
Oh, I see. So she's got fake bravado.
Yes.
That doesn't actually back it up.
Yes.
So if you are interested in rehoming a dog, do consider a greyhound or a lurcher, or indeed just maybe supporting your local dog rescue.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for everybody that has sent a tip today. As I said, today is a charity tour, so all of your tips I'll be donating to Kent Greyhound Rescue. Now, I understand the post hasn't been pinned, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and see if I can pin the post, which it probably won't let me, because obviously as soon as I stop the live, it then goes into comments. So I will make sure that information is on there. But if you're obviously on YouTube, if you go to my channel and look at my about information, I've got both links on there. I've also got on my Facebook group, Leonie on Tour, I will do a post and make sure both links to Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal are listed. Yes, Rosie, that's not a bad idea actually, adding it each time to the video description. It seems to take about half an hour every time I want to set a tour up now. Just write it there, write it there, write it everywhere. I think it may even be in the tour calendar as well. But it's all over the place, a little bit like me. So what we're going to do is we're going to say goodbye to Claire.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Claire, for coming down today, because Claire's obviously travelled down to meet me in the park on this doggy assignation. And I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see my face. And I wish I hadn't done that without actually noticing what on earth my hair looked like. That's wonderful. So thanks as well to Abigail, Claire's daughter, who came down with Claire. Thank you everybody for coming along. Please do like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you wanted to find out more about Kent Greyhound Rescue, they are indeed on the web, and they have got a Facebook page. And apart from that, I will show you the doggies before I go, obviously, because you don't want to see my face as the last thing you see. Not ever in life, just for the tour. So lots of love. And there you are. What beauties. So thank you, Becky and Elmo, for being superstars today. And thank you everybody for coming. Take care. Bye bye.